Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, here comes,
Oh,
speaking of, here comes Tiffany.
And we have Drew.
Oh, I didn't mean to start recording.
Was that freezing? Here comes Tiffany.
Yeah, yeah. She's,
Angie, you're left.
oh,
girl, where are you?
she lost it.
She blipped out, yep. Oh,
All right.
hey, Dinah. Good morning.
There she is again.
All right.
Okay, Drew and
Mm-hmm.
Barton Liddell, Tom and Alan, Matthew,
There
Nancy,
comes Tiffany.
Yeah.
Gina, Dinah, Tiffany. Okay.
Yeah.
We're almost ready to go.
Yeah.
Are you open for a call at some point, Matthew? Matthew?
He's
Oh, he's muted.
muted. Yeah.
Did you mean today?
Yeah, or tomorrow, or
I'm at Monica's, so probably, I mean, you can call. We might be involved in some
okay. Just need to touch
activity.
base with you.
What's that?
I just needed to touch base with you a couple of things. No biggie.
Um,
It can wait.
All right, people are clicking
Here they
in
come.
now.
Bruce, tell me who you're.
Hey, there comes Woody.
Woody.
Hey, Woody, woo!
Hi.
Gosh. Pat. Sue. Oh, it sounds like I heard a card. Cherry. We might have an actual live person out here. Is
my
Brittany. I was
goodness.
hoping for you today. Yay. Who's it?
How are ya?
All right.
Glad you made it back safely. Didn't get
Yes.
captured by the banditos.
Lee, Jacob,
Someone
and
held me for ransom.
did you
I'd
get
be
Bruce
afraid.
down?
Left.
Like when I got busted in Coffeyville,
Concerts,
Kansas, asked my parents if they wanted me back, and they said keep him. Okay, and I can't see.
Julie, good morning.
Okay, we got-
Hansa, hello.
okay, so there's my backup.
Jacob, Barry, Sue, and Karen.
Okay, Corinne,
Pat, Bruce,
why can't I see it?
Pam.
There she
Is
is.
click Pam.
Morning, Tiffany.
Oh, Jacob, you did make it.
Hi, Drew.
Jacob is back. He is a neat guy, private chef.
Mm.
Still doing
Why
that?
can't he come to the next retreat?
Well, because
He could cook for us.
That's why he never comes to
I'm
anything.
making a note of that.
Do is ask him to cook. Like being the minister, would you like to display the grace? No. Get to do it all the time. Let somebody else have some fun.
Hey, Pam.
Good
Okay.
morning.
Ooh. All right.
Minnesota's still in the clouds this morning.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Out again? Ay.
No, she's there.
Oh, okay. Oh, I do see her.
I'm here with technical difficulties and other difficulties.
That's the new phrase for my life. I'm here with
Yeah,
technical
yeah.
difficulty.
Screen going.
I think you're preaching to the choir there. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Well, let's go ahead and get started.
Okay.
I was looking through some of my materials last night, and I found this one, which it isn't relevant to the theme, but it's roomy, and it was so good that I said, I've got to share this with people.
Is that the one I sent you or a different one?
No,
Okay.
this is called The Look That Opens, and he has Coleman Barks has an entire book called The Glance, and I probably should save this for a talk on it. But in The Glance, he talks about a look that would get on his teacher's face that would make him feel absolutely worthy. And he said it's one of those things that you really can't do for yourself. We talk a lot about and the fact that the head wants to open to the sky, the body wants to open into the earth, but the heart wants to open into another person. And once you begin to look for it, again, what do you look for? What you look for, you're going to find. And we may even go in, this may be the teaching for today, if I keep rambling. I went into the grocery store, and I always have this habit when I pay of putting the dollar bills down like this, where you can see as I count 1, 2, 3, so the cashier doesn't have to count it again. And so this young woman is there, and she says to me, "Do you expect me to pick that up?" And I said, "Only if you expect to be reimbursed for my groceries." I said, "Why is that a problem?" She said, "Well, my mama taught me that that was a sign of disrespect." I was a little taken aback, and I said, "You know something, I've been doing this for nearly 80 years, and you're the first person who's taken that as a sign of disrespect. And I said, tell you, I said, you're going to find what you look for. And if you look for disrespect, you're going to find disrespect. But if you look for respect, you'll find respect too." And I said, be careful of what you're looking for. So as we gather in community, you know, the monkey mind is sitting here looking for signs of disapproval. They can see disapproval. You can bury faces with disapproval so you can't even see it's a face, and your brain will still light up if it's burying a face that has disapproval on it. And of course, that's because his kids, our caretaker, disapproving of us was not a good thing, never a good day. So let's begin to look for that look that opens, which is the title. We wait for inspiration and ask no fee. Feel of sacred ambience being enough. I love that phrase, the sacred ambience of this room and each other's company. So bring your malaise, your dullness, your callous ingratitude. As we meet you, the coming together itself will be the medicine. We are the cure, the look that opens your looking. As you look at the screen, each of us participates in that. We are the cure, the look that opens your looking. The coming together itself will be the medicine. What a precious thing, us gathering today and sharing our light. The light in you, that Holy Spirit in you, is the Christ energy for me. When you ever think of that, but I've always been a kind of spiritual Trinitarian, that there's this life force spirit of everything that's God, then it takes embodied form in me. That's the embodied Holy Spirit. But when you greet me with love, when you give me understanding, when I'm confused, when you give me reassurance, when I'm lost and scared, you become Christ in that moment and begin to look for that Christ energy in other people. Now, today, what I came to talk about, let's see if I can still do it, is a poem by Rumi. And it's interesting because addiction has always existed. And we pathologize addiction. We call it a disease. Actually, it's at the root of what we meant by sin. It's the root of what Paul says when he says the things I want to do, I don't do. And the things I don't want to do, I do. And there's no health in me. How many of us can relate to that statement? Okay. And so what is at the root of this thing? So as we sit, part of what we're trying to begin to discover and begin to find out is why. Why does that happen? How does it keep happening? Why do we keep manifesting the very things we don't want to do or to be or embody? And Rumi says it this way, there's a part of us that's like an itch, okay? It's like an itch. We'll call it the animal soul. And instead of pathologizing it or making it something that you're going to go to hell if you can't master it, he says it's a foolishness that when we're in it, we make hundreds of others around us itchy. And I think you can know that feeling when you get that restless, irritable discontent. You're around other people and they start getting restless, irritable, and discontent. It becomes contagious. And there's an intelligence soul with another desire, more like sweet basil or the field. Listen and be thankful for scolding, even for scolding that comes from the intelligent soul, because that soul flows out close to where you float out. I don't like that translation of scolding. I think it would be more a way of saying be thankful for awareness that's uncomfortable. Awareness that's uncomfortable. It comes out of seeing what we're up to. He says that itchiness wants us to put food in our mouths that will make us sick. You remember the story of the two wolves, which one's going to grow? The one you feed it. What do you feed your soul? He says when we put those things in our mouth, we get feverish with the aftertaste of kissing a donkey's rump. You ever do that? Indulge yourself in something that you thought was going to be fun, going to be good, and then that hangover, that aftertaste, that kissing a donkey's rump is just so elegant. It's like blackening your robe against a kettle without being anywhere near a table of companionship. So that it really was good that I read that reading, because here is our table of companionship. Here we're going to nourish each other with a genuine food. But these things that we do in private, that we hide, that we are secret vices, these are the things that keep making us sick. He says, gradually reduce what you give your animal soul, the bread that after all flows out of sunlight. For the animal soul itself spilled out and sprouted from the other. So he says, don't feed your physical appetites. Feed your spiritual appetites. The longing that you have is really a longing for a spiritual connection. It's a spiritual emptiness. And if you keep feeding the animal soul, it's going to get fat. That becomes your go-to position. You're wiring yourself to go to those appetites. When you begin to have an appetite for companionship, like here, and to feed that, then that's what you're becoming. And this is the key to spirituality. Taste more often what nourishes your clear light, and you'll have less use for the smoky oven. You'll bury that baking equipment in the ground. So when I got into recovery, they told me the minute you stop drinking, 50% of your problems will be gone overnight. And they were right, okay? I didn't have to worry about where I was going to get the alcohol when people were going to bed so I could drink. I wasn't going to deal with the shame of waking up in the morning after being drunk again. All those kind of things disappeared. They were just simply gone. So we have a tendency to want to fight the impulses. When we come in, we think about spiritual discipline. We think we're going to go to the mat with all our vices, all our supposed failings, and we're going to learn how to successfully dominate them. And so we're going to do a reading today from one of my favorite people. This is the first thing I put in the hands of people who come to me for spiritual direction. It's called There's Nothing Wrong with You. It's by Sherry Huber. Sherry's a very good teacher on number of ways. And the thing I like about it, I don't know if you can see the print on that, has very big print and it has pictures too. So any of you who are ADD, it's an excellent book. And the chapters are about 5 pages long. So it's amazing what you can accomplish. So this is what she has to say about meditation. When we sit in meditation, we don't scratch if we have an itch. This
So
drives.
just stop there for a minute.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you can imagine a room full of people at the meditation retreat, sitting and not scratching an itch, not
moving your
moving,
foot, not
not
worrying.
readjusting
your
or rolling your
clothing.
shoulders. No,
Exactly.
no,
None of those things.
no. It's
Okay.
just posture
And it can be as simple as also wanting to write your grocery list or
in your head.
right. So just a million things are going to emerge that are compulsive that you are not. Don't desire. Let's put it that way. Okay. Now, this drives people crazy. I've had them say this is demented. How could not scratching when you have an itch have anything to do with spirituality? It has everything to do with spiritual practice because it's precisely that it itches, I have to scratch reaction that is the root of most of our suffering. Let me say that again, okay? It is precisely that it itches, I must scratch reaction that is the root of most of our suffering, okay? That is that automatic conditioned response to a stimuli. There's no pause in there where I allow myself to reflect and take control. It goes from impulse to action. And if we don't learn to interrupt that, then we're going to keep doing what we always do, which is why that phrase is so current. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you always got. So the way we interrupt it here is by not acting on those impulses as they arise, no
Not
matter what they are.
reacting. Yeah.
Not react, but no action at all. Just sitting with the itch, the discomfort that's behind it. Remember, last week we talked about spirituality is widening our window of tolerance. How much discomfort can you tolerate before you disintegrate into trancing out and totally leaving, or everything becoming chaotic? And that's the secret. The secret is not letting the world jerk you around. That's equanimity, is being able to stay and widen your zone of discomfort. She says you can't just notice that it itches and not have to do anything about it. You can realize that you're having a conditioned reaction to a sensation. You don't have to take this personally. You don't have to react to it. And if you learn that you don't have to react this way, you begin to be free of it. You prove to yourself that you won't die, you won't go crazy, and parts of your body won't fall off if you sit with this discomfort. You can just be there. And in a moment, you may even be perfectly fine with what's happening, and then something else hurts. And you can sit through that, and it just becomes interesting. You're not resisting it anymore. It's just kind of fascinating how it hurts here, and pretty soon it hurts here, and then it doesn't hurt at all. And then you think, hey, you know, my leg was hurting a minute ago. You're sitting there quietly breathing in and out, and this helpful little voice says, wasn't your leg hurting? And suddenly you're in pain again. And so we learn to sit with that. Maybe you're obsessing about something, and the voice says, you know, I can't sit here. I can't stand this crap. I've got to get up, wash the dishes. And you just sit there. You don't react to it. Maybe you become interested in obsession itself. What is obsession? How do I do that? What's the payoff for obsessing? Pretty soon you lose interest in that. You become bored with it all because it's not making you do anything. You hear that? What are we being liberated from? We want freedom.
Control.
Okay? We're being liberated from being jerked around by our conditioning, those impulsive things. Eventually it begins to quiet down. In the same way, when something happens in your life, you no longer believe you have to react to it. You've sat through so many, I can't stand this, so many seeming emergencies, so many life and death issues that you no longer believe them. And in not reacting, the very energy, the very force, your spirit that's behind them begins to have to feed on itself. It's no longer feeding on you because you're no longer participating in it. And eventually it burns up, burns away. So when we talk about karma, what is karma? Karma, this is what we're talking about. Karma is that every action, every thought you have leaves an imprint on your body, lays down a little track. It gets a little easier to do that next time. What we call the burning up karma here is literally burning up old neural pathways. They literally extinguish over time if we don't keep them active. So we're sitting here building new neural pathways, learning how to sit still, learning how to breathe, learning how to stay in the present moment. And at the same time, these old things are going to fire. But if they don't get the payoff, okay, they don't get the payoff, they begin to burn up. So it feels crazy to sit here and be dealing with this thing. Do not fight this, okay? The big thing, and when you begin to look in traditional scriptures like Jesus and battling with the devil, you don't engage the devil, okay? It's get behind me, okay? I'm not going to address you. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to try and figure you out. I don't care. All of that keeps me engaged. All of that keeps me caught up in it. What I do is I stand outside of it. You notice she says, stand there and realize I am having a conditioned response to a stimuli. The whole summer last year we spent talking about the fact it's simply energy. It's simply just like when that energy out there hits your eye, it turns into color. When this energy hits your brain, it turns into an impulse to do something. It starts your brain talking. It starts you having craving. It starts all kinds of set, but it's still just energy. It's still just spirit. And what does spirit want? It wants to be released. So we just sit here, 1 tablespoon at a time, emptying the swimming pool of our conditioning. Breathing and releasing, breathing and releasing. Okay. So, homie, you want to go ahead and gang us in, gong the gang in.
Yeah.
I'm having an impulse to drink some coffee. Oh, no!
He's doing it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No! Oh, get behind me, Satan. Oh, shit. That was your visual aid.
Show and tell.
Whatever you need. No. So just allow yourself to settle into the present moment. I love the phrase taking refuge in the present. That means leaving behind, leaving outside the door. This is a sanctuary. The worldly concerns all stay outside. Just following the sensations of the breath. The Buddhists also call it taking refuge in the breath. Following the sensations of the in-breath, how it flows naturally into the out-breath. Distinguishable but not separable. If you're having a lot of intrusive thoughts, you might want to keep your eyes open. Use the visual sensations to anchor you in the present. If your breath feels chaotic, simply focus on the out-breath, exhaling with a slight pressure. And as the body begins to calm down, let yourself take a step back into witness consciousness. Which means becoming aware of who's aware of the fact that you're breathing. Who's aware of the body? Beginning to see that there's something immense and spacious that's aware of everything that you're experiencing. Aware of the breath, aware of the body, aware of the world around you. All in the same field of awareness. Noticing that this field of awareness is so much bigger and the thoughts generated by the brain, the emotions generated by the body. This vast, quiet field of awareness that allows everything to enter, pass through, restricting nothing, holding nothing. Like the sky. And notice what pulls you out of this awareness. What was the thought you just caught yourself thinking? What was the physical discomfort? Caught your attention. Attention grasps. Tension. Awareness allows. So as awareness gets hung up, notice how constricted it feels to be caught in a thought, bodily sensation, an emotion. When you find yourself struggling with those, just simply breathe into them, give them lots of space, and let them float. Undoing all the conditioned striving to understand, all the conditioned striving to control. Let when the gong sounds, just notice where you are. If you're snagged on anything, and just gently bring yourself back to the spaciousness of awareness. Notice that as you get tired, your platform gets fatigued. You may find yourself a little more belabored with intrusive thoughts and feelings, sensations. And again, not in a masochistic way, but in an exciting, self-challenging way. See how long you could just sit with it. See what thoughts emerges, what storylines you tell yourself. Alrighty, sports fans. Questions, comments? You know the drill.
I found a little conundrum that is worth talking about when I was able to get absorbed in the awareness, and I was aware of my sensory self and, excuse me, and even aware of that I was aware of that sensory self. But what I didn't see is I didn't see any past or future there. But yet I had an awareness that there was a past. So it's a little strange because I felt that in the awareness of myself, I didn't really see the any past or future there, but there was an awareness that there was a past. So how does that work?
Real simple, Tommy. Okay, the past isn't a reality. It's a fiction generated by your brain. Okay, that being able to see it there as something different from reality, which is here, enables you to begin to unhook from that past. Okay, so yes, there's that, and there's also a future that's being generated by your brain too. But that eternal present, that's the moment we want. That's the sweet spot. So you were in it. So yeah, all the different parts of the brain that are there are going to manifest themselves as the functioning of the brain. So that's the awareness sitting outside the brain. We always identified this as being us. And when you make that shift to identifying with this, totally changes our capacity to let this stuff go, not take it seriously. Just kind of watch it as Shakespeare said, sound and fury signifying nothing. Yeah. Or as Jefferson Airplane said, doesn't mean shit to a tree. Good line. You can take it. Good, Tommy. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay.
Go.
No. So this, Brittany, I know.
So I
See you soon.
found, yes, hello. So I started strong.
Yeah.
And I felt really good I felt myself expand.
Mhm.
I felt the expansion of me. And then my nose was itching and I didn't scratch. And then my eyeballs started itching and I didn't scratch. And then my toes kind of itched. I didn't scratch. And then my brain was like, oh, okay, well, she's resisting. So then the thoughts started and I kept coming, I just kept gently bringing myself back. And then the itching started again. And so it felt like this really strong campaign by human me, I guess, or whatever we want to call it, to stay small and safe and contained in the body. But I persisted, and I will say it I almost and toward the end, I think I was like kind of giving myself a grade. I was like, this is like a D at best. Like this is not as good as I wanted to do it, but then I'm thinking, well, I persisted, and I didn't scratch, but man, I wanted to. And then my foot started falling asleep and I was like, oh, so that was interesting.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
It's just how it should be, I guess. That's just how it is. Right?
That's just how it is.
That's how it is.
That's exactly how it is. And couldn't have done a better job of describing the process. And you begin to see how it snowballs, starts out as a sensation that's uncomfortable. And, I remember a point in my life where I was laying in bed. I used to have 20 or 30 panic attacks a day and severely restrict my life around my anxiety. And I was laying there in bed and I said, I wasted a good 2/3 of my life because I was avoiding feeling uncomfortable physical sensations. That's all anxiety really was, is I was discomfort, uncomfortable with it. And then I'd start a storyline. The storyline would get more cortisol going, more adrenaline. That would expand the thing until I was paralyzed and couldn't function. But it all started with that avoidance of that uncomfortable sensation. So that's great. Keep watching that. The other thing, this is something that is also so fundamental. This is why I want to start doing that book on Soul Without Shame. Notice the inner judge jumped in at the end. All right. And we think that we're still in awareness, but awareness with any judgment is not pure awareness. So if there's anything in what's looking at you that is judgmental, and that's why Hans Sherry Huber's book, There Is Nothing Wrong with You. Okay. any judge, positive, negative, that you're giving yourself about what you're experiencing, again, is brain generated and the most insidious thing you're encountering. That is the devil. I mean, really, you're sitting there watching, and all of a sudden, I'm in a performance, I'm going to be graded. And then if you're Christian, you have the additional disadvantage of, and if I fail, I'm going to hell for eternity. What a horrible burden for having, for being a fallible human being.
Yeah.
Can you remind us who?
And very successful, and we feel really honored to have her as a part of our group.
I feel very honored to be able to be here.
Well, that we're building, so.
My comment is that that teaching of not scratching the itch in meditation is a practice for life.
Absolutely.
I mean, life, itches come up. Your phone vibrates. What, can you not scratch
Answer
the
phone,
itch?
yeah.
You hear a text message, the phone rings, whatever it is. This is a teaching for us to pause and create an appropriate response, whatever that is. Maybe it is answering the phone, but you get to choose.
Right.
You get to choose. So it feels like letting go of control, but it does give you some control as well.
Well, it's the paradox that
Yeah.
we talk about it in AA.
Yeah.
It's actually from Carl Jung, who said the only true control we have is letting go of control.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a genuine paradox.
And the other thing that came up for me is, which happens sometimes in meditation, but it's like the itch, is the monkey mind is the itch. And I remember clearly resisting moving in meditation or scratching the itch. Is that a kind of resistance?
Okay. What it can be, okay, so okay, here again is the opportunity. The opportunity is I'm resisting doing something about it, which is resistance resisting itself. And that isn't going to work, okay? And you know it's not going to work. Why?
As you're fighting.
Yeah, because you can feel, okay, you're in the dukkha, the suffering. I'm in the resistance. How do I get to, okay? So it's not playing the game of I have to do anything about this. It's just sitting with it. Go back to what happens if I
Not
just go.
resisting it.
Not resisting resistance, allowing resistance to be there.
So maybe at some point.
One of the things that I notice in meditation is sometimes I start like rocking or moving, and at one time that was always made wrong. And what I've realized is that's prana moving into areas of my body that I've not been able to access. And it's almost like today when I do that, it's like I almost celebrate noting that something's moving. Yay.
Waking
And
up,
that-
yeah.
And that's all, again, it just becomes an awareness that something's moving into subject. And it will be revealed at the right time, because if I go into it, then I start analyzing, and that puts me in the brain.
Okay.
And so it goes back to what you're saying, Bart, is just watching it. But it's okay to have those movements or those jerks or shakes, because it's part of the body letting spirit in.
And for any of us with trauma, that's spontaneous trauma healing right there. So it does happen on the mat that you'll have a spontaneous release of the trauma and celebrate that. Right. So the people who try and sit there and look like little Buddhas, our teacher will walk in and he'll go, "You all are starting to stink of Zen." I mean,
too righteous
you're a little
about
too
it.
fucking righteous and a little bit too rigid about it. But that's because we don't have any good models of spirituality. We don't know what a finished product looks like. We think it all looks like those yoga journals. And that's not how it looks. So thank you for that. Thank you for that, Hanson.
That's reminding me of some advice that my dad gave me. I've always been very interested in Wicca and magic. And my dad always reminded me, don't get too caught up, don't get too serious about it. Always be playful, always have fun. That don't be too serious about it. And I don't know, that's just really resonating today.
Yeah, yeah. And Meher Baba, his whole thing was don't worry, be happy. But it's okay, let's look at that, because again, we confuse that with everything's good, and it's an ironic happiness. It's an understanding. The thing I keep going to is an image we came up of Linnell in her childhood, that she's in New York City with a little kiddie seat strapped onto the bench seat in the family Chevy or whatever.
In the back, yeah.
And so there she is in this canvas sling, aluminum frame with a little plastic steering wheel with a little red horn, thinking she's driving the car. This is what's going on in our lives, people. Our little egos think the steering wheel is actually hooked onto anything. It makes a difference in terms of what's going to happen. And you begin to realize that the more I fight it, like, why isn't this goddamn thing working? It's because it never did work. It never did. There were just times of synchronicity when I go like that and the car would move. And I go, oh shit, I've got it now. Yeah, finally, the steering wheel's working. It never did. So, yes. Sherry? Okay. You started to say something, Brittany.
I was saying maybe at some point we do scratch the itch in meditation. Maybe if we sit with it long enough, and maybe we really are, maybe my nose really is itching.
Agreed.
So I just let myself scratch it. But if you're in that state of awareness, perhaps that's,
Okay.
and we know,
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
I'm going to give you a disgusting thing that actually came from Lion's Roar. So this guy was getting ready to go lead the session, and he had diarrhea and shit his pants before he could get to the bathroom. So now he's trying to figure out what is the enlightened thing to do about the fact that he's in shitty pants. So he goes ahead and teaches the class in his shitty pants. And that's about as far as gotten. And he actually found some virtue and righteousness in that decision. Can anybody else see a different solution to that?
Yeah, I can.
But
Take care of it.
Be kind to yourself. That's not good for your body. Your
Okay.
body doesn't want you to sit in that. Your body says, hey, I don't want that, and if you have to scratch your nose, and you do it, well, okay, so you just scratched your nose. Just be kind to yourself and go back to being meditating. Be aware and be kind to yourself. I think, to me, that's just the solution with everybody is kindness. Loving kindness. You do that to yourself and you do that to everybody else. And when you have to step back and breathe and look, and like you just said everything earlier, you just think you become a child, because a child wants to be kind, I mean, not all children, or not all the time, but basically they want to be kind.
okay. So you hear, it's what Linnell and I call making a compassionate choice for yourself, which is not a thought. Okay. This is beyond the level of practice. Now I need to be compassionate and blow my nose. So this guy should have gone to get someone else to teach the class. He's so self-righteous that he thinks he has to be the one to be in class and learn to do it in shitty pants.
Yeah, but I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think maybe he wasn't. maybe he was just not kind to himself. Maybe he tried to do the right thing and he was really hard on it, you know?
Yes.
The right thing. You just said it. That's exactly.
Yeah, but not because you know, because he felt pressure from the outside, not for him, you know?
But that's right. But the pressure from the outside, Corinne, becomes the pressure from the inside. We
Well,
start
yeah,
being,
yes, I agree.
we internalize the beatings and beat ourselves up. We don't need someone else to do it. And we lose compassion. And if you read The Monkey is the Messenger, it has a whole chapter on what happens when we lose compassion for ourselves. And it's horrible. It's devastating. Okay,
Yeah, I find this kind of contradictory to a story you tell about the young man who's in a synagogue doing some kind of silent prayer with his, and keeps running, getting thirsty, and he runs out to the fountain. He doesn't drink, he runs back in, he runs out to the fountain, and finally the rabbi comes out and says, "Son, take a drink. It's distracting you from your prayer." And
it's the same story. That's the same story. If I'm sitting there and what I'm doing is distracting from my meditation, I can't hold my seat, and I'm dying of thirst or an itch that needs to be scratched, then I need to scratch it. I need to go get a drink, okay? Don't complicate this thing. It's simply saying this is something you can use to practice. Once it quits being useful, let go of the tool, okay? Go follow it. But then it's a choice. So I've got a guy who's trying to stop drinking right now. And I told him, when you feel the urge to drink, write down what you're going to do. Write down where you're going to get a glass. What are you going to drink? Write it down. Then when you have the drink, I want you to say, this morning, this is what I wrote. I wrote, I don't want to drink anymore. I want to maintain my abstinence. And then after you've read that, I want you to look at that drink and decide if you want to take it. And realize you're not going to be any better person or any worse person after you take that drink. It's a question of, are you in control? And that you have a choice. And if you're going to make the choice mindfully, knowing that there's another part of you that's going to feel shame because of the fact that you took this drink. And that's what you're doing to yourself in this moment. All right. That's what
there's something very interesting to me about making unwise choices, but making them mindfully.
Yeah.
I am just, I don't know why that concept is so intriguing to me. I guess it's because I do it.
It's one of my favorites, Tiffany. So in Ayurveda, there's a phrase for that. Crimes against wisdom.
Oh, boy.
Oh, isn't that great that you do something that you know what your wisdom
mindset
is saying, but you're going to do it anyway. Eat the donut or whatever it is. So if you make the choice to eat the donut, just enjoy the heck out of it, you know, and not be guilty.
And here's where we Americans totally lose it around spirituality, is because we expect spiritual teachers to be perfect, and they're not. They're still fallible human beings, okay? The guy who founded the Naropa Institute was a drunk, and people said, how can you follow a drunk? And I go, we know he's a drunk. When he's drunk, we don't listen to him. And I said, that he's got a bigger tell than most spiritual teachers do. At least they could tell whether he's drunk or not. But what I would tell people in 12-step programs says, we humbly ask God to remove our defects of character. And I said, you're going to die with the same defects of character you came into the program with, okay? They're not going to go away. It's simply that you're going to learn to live comfortably with them. You're going to learn to keep them hurting other people as much as they did. You're going to quit beating yourself up for the fact that you have them.
that's difficult to sit with as well. Learning that these things aren't going to go away, because that's what I wanted.
I know.
I want it to go away. I don't want to have to learn to live with it.
Okay. Yes. Now here's the thing, Tiffany. Yes, and we need to do a whole thing on this. It's because the most pernicious mistranslation in the Bible was the translation, "Be ye perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect." Jesus could not have said that. You can't make that statement anyway in Aramaic or Koine Greek. It can't be thought. It's a Greek thought, and it was something when they made the translation, they were trying to translate a Jewish word that meant will only to unfold out of your nature, even as your Father in heaven only wills to unfold out of his nature. It's within the context of the Sermon on the Mount, where he says, God is love. You're created in his image. Love him with all your heart, mind, and soul. Love your neighbors yourself. There's no perfection in here. It's simply will only to unfold out of your loving nature. That's the bottom line of that. And it got twisted into God wants you to be perfect. And if you're not perfect, it got wedded to the concept of eternal hell, which Jesus also had no concept of. And that if I'm not perfect, I'm going to be subject to eternal damnation. That is the most twisted, the most distorted version of Jesus' teaching ever made. Totally contradictory, and yet it is so persistent, and it's in our thinking to the level that everyone on the screen is perfectionistic. I guarantee it. And it was the tool they gave you for dealing with your shame as a childhood, for your feeling of powerlessness. You were powerless. There was no shame in that. You're a child. You have no control over your life. You made mistakes. You're a beginner. That's what we do. There's no shame in anything, but we were taught shame from the most fundamental levels. And we're trying to erase it, trying to erase your fallibility. It's a fruitless job. It's going to exhaust you. It's going to lower your self-esteem. Your self-esteem is directly related to what you expect. The greater the expectations, the more loss of self-esteem. If what you're expecting is perfectionism, that hits your self-esteem at the deepest, most fundamental levels. And learning to accept yourself as a fallible human being, that's who we are. And it confuses our little baby minds because our spirit is immense. Our spirit is love. Our spirit feels compassion and feels the pain of everything. And then our little baby mind wants to fix mommy, wants to fix daddy, wants to fix all this stuff that we have no control over. And then we feel inadequate and we feel shame. And then we go and find unfixable people to take care of. Right? And then we feel shame about that. And then we just try and find a better way to fix what was never broken to begin with. There's nothing wrong with you. Get over it. Let go of that concept. Okay? It's not going to take you anywhere. It goes nowhere. It goes nowhere. Okay? So, almost
3 rounds
three
of
rounds.
Om.
Oh, I knew that. I quit at 1.
Oh.
Deep breath in.
Wow.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Have a good week.
Joy being fallible.
I love you guys so much. Have a good week.
Fallible. You can probably walk fallible.
The hell I am.
Thanks, Bart and Linnell. Thanks for letting us in late.
Thanks, you bet.
Yeah, y'all have a great weekend.